Hey guys, this is Charles with Charlotte Area Historical Gaming, and today I got a chance to play Cruel Seas for the second time. So the first time I played a demo with the Siege of Augusta, and I really liked the game, and I was kind of curious. I heard some problems with the errata. Um, One thing to note is that the new rulebook that came out has the captain's icon on the bottom. This is how you can tell the second edition with the better rule set built into it instead of having to get the original version, which had all kinds of FAQ and things like that. When Warlord came out with bolt action games or bolt action, I really liked it, but there was so much to it. It kept getting bigger and bigger, and I like the simplicity of this. One of the mistakes I made when I first started doing bolt action was I clipped all the arms off the military units and ended up with a mess trying to figure it out, like which arm was which. This one is very simply, come on, focus. Here we go. Everything's organized together. If you look at the sprue, you've got the complete sprue of the ship itself and the different types of weapons that come with it. So these are some of the ships that come in the starter pack. So I got this on Amazon for $70. Pretty good deal. These are the torpedo markers. And the ships are really nice quality, nice heavy-duty resin. Some of the ships in the other packs are much heavier. You get quite a good selection of markers. So these are the speed markers used to track behind your ship. You'll place it very much like this to indicate the combat speed, full speed, or slow speed. And you'll move this in between the three. Those are the only three speeds in the game. And you can turn, some ships turn 30 degrees, some ships turn 45 degrees, so that's a little measurement there of that. And when you move, you have to move full movement, so you can't do partial movements. So that's an interesting aspect of the game. These little tabs come off to mark the cards for the game, so you can track different parts, health points, hit points, and things like that. And these will just slide up and down this. So you can track it without having to write on your cards. Each ship card contains what type of machine guns and things like that it has. So you'll see here, this one has a 20 millimeter gun, MG times 2, 4 torpedoes, smoke, a little bit of description on the back, and the point value for an inexperienced, regular, and veteran. Again, these are all the ships that come in the base pack. Here are the rulers that come with the game. One of the rulers on the back side has a list of the modifiers. So it's really good if you have a new player who wants to play to give them this ruler so they can kind of follow the player aid to make sure what's going on. There's also regular hits in the game, so some weapons will do certain types of hits, and you have the option with some boats, certain types of attacks, to possibly get critical attacks, and then these markers will mark the critical attacks. And you can also use smoke, which comes with the game, as a reminder that there's a critical event on that boat and it has to be addressed during the next turn. And basically you just put this on the boat and it looks like fire or whatever. Smoke. Nice fun options in the game. We've also got some really nice punch-out material that lays on the map that looks really good. So you've got a lighthouse here. You've got some planes. So you'll probably want to buy some planes eventually. I haven't played with the planes yet, but these are nice enough just to lay on the board, and they look good. You've got an island here. Different sides to the island. It's all really nice quality stuff. Shoals, rocks, a quick start guide, how to paint the ships. There's all kinds of great videos online of how to paint and assemble each individual ship. So you can modify it to your liking according to the weapons that you would like to have. And this kind of goes over that. It's a very large, very nice map. So you probably want to put plexiglass on something like this because of the creases, but it is really nice looking. Then the flags come with the game for the ships, so you can identify each side. And then there's the rule book. So again, going back to the bottom right, this is what you want to look for in the buying the rule book, because you do want the second edition. The first edition was kind of unclear on some things. Oh, also, you get these wake markers. The wake markers come, and when you miss an attack, you can use this. You can use multiple wake markers if you want, or if you can turn it, there's a couple numbers here that you can use to adjust to the number of turns. It works similar to bolt action in the sense that you put one die in the bag for each ship that you have. So if you have 3 Americans and 3 Germans, you'll put 3 of each into the bag, and then when you draw a dice out, that will be the activation for that particular unit. Most initial attacks are done on a D10, and then after you do your D10 attack and figure out if you make it, then you'll do a D6 attack to figure out the damage, and that's where the ship card comes in. And whatever it is, you'll mark damage off of the card using the markers that I showed you earlier. The rule book is really nicely laid out. Very clear table of contents. Also a very nice index in the back. Very quickly to look up things. Even if you have the wrong names, it'll say something like C ship sizes or C critical damage for torpedo hit. So it's very well laid out. We played today and we had no questions besides what was listed there, and I looked it up very quickly. It's got some nice graphics in the rule books, but I don't think anybody will ever see this type of terrain niceness in a scenario, just because, you know, the wakes and things like that. They're not nice, but it looks good. It's kind of neat that they show the different parts of the boat, and good for somebody like me who doesn't know a lot about naval warfare. But it explains the different portions of the boat, and the rules are very simple. First thing you're going to do is decide your speed, and then you decide your speed. That depicts your movement, and then during your movement you may get to turn up to 30 or 45 degrees depending on how fast you're going or the type of boat that you have. And then after that you get to fire, and so the list of the type of weapons that you have are on the ship card here, right? And then your damage is listed here, and then as you take damage you'll reduce that back and forth. And so you'll consult a player aid, which is on Warlord Games website, and do the attacks for anything within range. Depending on your speed, that may affect combat. And also some other factors are the size of your vessels that you're attacking or you may be attacking with, the type of weapons and the range. But it's really not complicated at all. Let's see. So the turn is basically listed here. You'll pull a dice from the dice bag to determine whose turn it is. You'll assign the dice to a ship and issue orders, which is changing the speed and moving. You'll move the ship. You'll fire the activated ship's guns and launch torpedoes if you want to, and then resolve damage. This is an example of how the ships lay on top of the wake markers to indicate what speed you're going. Slow speed, combat speed, and full speed. And firing is basically firing, rolling a d10 to determine if you do a hit, and then you do damage with your d6 depending on the type of weapon that you have. So here's your range table for the different types of weapons. Some weapons have a minimum range, so we're talking 5 centimeters as the very closest. If a unit comes less than 5 centimeters away, that gun won't be able to fire, but these other ones at 0 can. So some of these have really long range shots, things like that. And torpedoes are a lot of fun in the game. So when you're firing for the turn, you may launch your torpedo and it'll sit beside your ship until the next turn when it actually starts moving. And that's when you kind of find out whether the target has moved, or if it's you've predicted where that unit is going to go, and then you roll to hit with your torpedo. You could possibly have a dud, and then you determine torpedo damage. So that's it for the rules. The scenarios are listed here. There's a nice night scenario. So I've only played the first scenario twice, and it's really fun. You know, basically the whole idea of the first scenario is get off the other side of the board. But we ended up in such a battle and having such fun with the game, we didn't even really pay attention to getting off the board. At the end of the game, though, only one ship was left, a little tiny ship, and everybody else is completely blown up. So it was pretty epic. Let's see. Some more nice graphics. There's some advanced rules. Information about ship sizing, movement, lighthouses. There's all kinds of nice terrain things you can do to make the game dressed up. Here's your critical hit table. So some ships and some weapons have the ability to do critical hits, and critical hits happen immediately and then are marked to indicate whether you do a test for the next turn to see if you put a fire out, or if you fix a rudder that's broken, or if your gun is fixed. And sometimes those effects will just keep staying on from turn to turn unless you pass that test. So as you can see, there's quite a bit to the book, and so far I'm really pleased with everything that I got. I'm looking forward to putting it all together. Information about tiny boats, more weapons, aviations, barrage balloons. So I'm going to try to make some of these. So they're about $12 online for the barrage balloons for 2 of them, and I've got some air dry clay from Hobby Lobby or someplace like that. And I'm going to see if I can shape those into something that looks like a barrage balloon. Put it on a wire coat hanger stick and see if I can mount it to stand up. Should be easy to do. Also, putting cotton balls on some sort of stick mechanism can simulate some nice flak or clouds if you want to dress up the game a bit. That would look really nice. So, so far it seems like one of the best starter war games, even better than Bolt Action, just because the ships are kind of self-contained as far as you only have about 3 ships. Everything for that ship is contained in that marker. Only certain types of weapons can go on there. Lots of great information, background information about the types of wars and things. These aren't big ship battles. These are little ship battles, and just designed to be fun. And a little bit of information about each one of the types of armies that are available. Different airplanes, different types of extra things on there. Ship rosters and what they include. And here's some more information. So I hope you get a chance to check out the game. It's really fun, and I liked it a lot. And take care.